Hey guys, what's going on? What we're going to go over today is we're going to go over how to build this desk that you see on your screen. If you notice, this person's charging $5 for it. It's something that we could build together in maybe 10 or 15 minutes, getting the hang of the software. So that's what we're going to do. The main tools you're going to learn in this are how to move the camera around by rotating it, how to move the camera around by translating it, and how to zoom in and out on the camera. And then we're going to learn how to move some objects around, how to scale the objects, and how to rotate the objects. And that's really all we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get started. What I like to do when I model is I would normally have this on a second monitor, but since I don't, I'm just going to sort of go back and forth here. So go ahead and go to Clara. You've all went through how to create an account in class. If not, I'll just go to Clara and create an account. It's free. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to New Scene. Just delete this. Okay, so just go ahead and create a new scene. And we're going to call this scene Simple Table. Okay, the first thing I want you to do before we get started is we're going to go to Edit, Preferences, and make sure you go to Shortcut Style Maya, Navigation Style Maya. Really important. It doesn't really matter. But just make sure you do these. If you don't do these, my directions I give you for moving the screen around aren't going to be the same. Okay, so first things first, the way we rotate the camera, I hit Alt on my keyboard, ALT, okay? And I hit the left mouse button. Hold on, I gotta do something here. Okay, so I hit Alt and then left mouse button, and this is going to move my screen around. So it's Alt and then left mouse button. Okay, now if I hit Alt and I click the mouse wheel, I click the wheel and I move my mouse around, I'm going to have the screen that translates. Okay, and the last one is zoom. And that's just a scroll of the mouse wheel up and down. You could also hit Alt and right mouse button. They do the same thing. Just a little smoother. So whichever one you prefer. Okay. So those are the three options. Or again, just to go over that one more time, we have Alt and left mouse button rotates. So again, that's left mouse button. Alt key and mouse wheel will do this. And then Alt key and right mouse button does this, or you could just slide the wheel up and down. Okay, that's how we move the camera. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put an object on the screen, and we're going to see how to move that around. So how do you create an object? Well, it's pretty easy. You could just click box, and we have a box. What I like to do is, if your screen doesn't quite look like mine, if you click that, it will. Okay. If you hit 7, you'll get a filled in box, and 4 you won't. So that's 4 and 7. Now, if your screen doesn't look like mine, you can always click this and choose which one I have. So what I have is left, top, and front, and perspective. That's what I have. And the way we get in and out of these views are pretty easy. You can just click this one, and then when you're done, click that one. So this will open and close the views. This one will stretch the views here. This one will stretch this view here. Just click it again and make it go away. So that's pretty simple. I just wanted to show you that in case your screen doesn't look like mine. Okay, the next thing I like to do is I like to see the edges while I'm working. So the way I do that is I go to Realistic and I go to Show Edges. Right there. It just allows me to see the edges. I just like seeing them. Okay, so this is the Move tool. You see how this is highlighted right here? That's the Move tool. And the way we do it is we just click this button, and then we click the green arrow, and we can move it up. Or we could click the blue arrow, and we can move it across. Or we could click the red arrow, and we can move it this way. Those are the Move tools. Pretty straightforward. Okay? Then you have your rotate tools. So the way the rotate tools work, if I highlight this blue axis, it'll turn yellow. So whatever axis is turning yellow, that means that's the one I'm controlling. So I'm going to click on this blue axis and I'm going to rotate it. That's all that's happening there. Let's try the green axis. Okay. I'm just rotating it back and forth. And let's try the red axis. Simple. All right, now we have scale. So this will scale it in Z. This will scale it in X, this box. And this box right here scales it in Y. Now we could also scale it all together at one time by clicking this. See that middle one just turned yellow? It's white. See this? It's white. Now it turns yellow, and watch that. Now it'll scale the whole thing out at once. So there's 4. There's the middle. There's the Y, X, and Z. So those are our tools. You could actually flip through them with keyboard shortcuts. So W is the move tool, E is the rotate tool, R is the scale tool, and Q is just the selection tool. So Q, W, E, R. All right? Hopefully that makes some sense. So now we can move the camera around. All right? And then we could move our shape around. If you forgot how to do that, again, it's just Alt, left mouse button, Alt, middle mouse button, and then zoom. So the only thing you remember is hold down Alt, and either it's the left button or the middle button. And if you forget, just hold down Alt and press stuff and watch what it does, and eventually you're going to remember. There's a lot of commands here, so it's a little tricky. Okay, so now that we have the general housekeeping out of the way, let's get started with this desk. Let's make these legs first. Then we'll make the top here. And then we'll make the bigger top. Then we'll do a little cube here. Okay. And then we'll do the drawers. So first things first, let's do the legs. It's pretty easy. So I'm just scaling it down to be pretty small. Okay. And I'm going to lift it up. And remember, I could go to the middle and make the whole thing a little bit thinner. That's nice. It looks good. And I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to take it out 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4. And I'm going to bring it up like this. Now, if you go to your 4 view here, let's bring it to the middle. Actually, what did I say, 4? Let's do, this is actually even easier. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now what we're going to do is this. Actually, let's do 8. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So right there. Beautiful. Okay. And for some reason, these are in a little bit different scale. I don't know why. We'll just keep it at 4. It's fine. We'll just keep it at 4. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to Edit, Clone. And let's move it out 1, 2, 2. Let's look at the desk again. Yeah, that's good. All right. Now we're going to take this one and go to Edit Clone. Just make sure you have copy on. And we're going to take it over here and go 1. I'll do it here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there. And Edit Clone. Click OK. And bring it over 1, 2. Let's do 3 actually. It'll look better. So I'm just using these grids to help me space my stuff. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so these are going to be the legs. You can name these if you want. So what we could do is yours. You could open this thing up, and we could go to Explore. And you notice you have your box, right? Box, 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 box. Well, these aren't very descriptive names. So I could just call it, I could right click and go to rename, and I could call this left leg front. I could call this one left leg back. Then I could call the other side right leg front, and then right leg back. Okay? And you know what's really good? I could throw these in a group if I want. So I'm not going to go into that, but you can group these later to make this stuff easier to move around. We're not going to do that right now. If I want to close this window again, I could just come here, and I should be able to close the window. There we go. I have to make sure I'm on my pointer tool here. And I can just close the window and use it later. Okay, now I'm going to go to Create, Polymesh, Box, or I could just click on that. And this box is going to cover the legs. So I'm going to go ahead and just scale it, which is this one. That's a little too big there. Okay, so now if we look, we have the bottom part here. Very good. Okay, pretty simple. Maybe I want to make this over just a little bit. Beautiful. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, if we look at this, there's another layer on top. So I'm just going to go to Edit, Clone. Because it's already in the right place, so I don't want to have to sit there and, go through the whole hassle of replacing it and all that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and make it bigger. And then I'm just going to place it right, I'm going to intersect it right there. Okay? So that looks pretty good. Looks like, simple desk. All right, let's go ahead and do the drawers. So the easiest way to do this is just put in a big box and then put some boxes in front of those boxes. If you have $1 for every time I say box today, you're going to be rich. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, let's just look at the shape again. All right, so I'm just going to take this box. There I go again. And we're going to go ahead and scale this thing. And I'm just going to make it wider so it covers the legs, like it intersects the legs. And with this program, you could overlap geometry. It's fine. With any modeling program, actually, you can overlap geometry. That's always fine. There's a lot of tools I'm not showing you right now because it's day one, and we don't need to know all the tools. You will learn them as we go. Okay, that's good. All right. Now I'm just going to go to Edit, Clone. And I'm going to put that over here. Okay. Cool. Looks pretty okay. Okay, now I'm going to go to Edit, Clone again. And I am going to take this one and bring it over. And I'm going to make this my first shelf, like my first cabinet. Okay. Let's see how theirs looks. Okay, they have a little bit of a gap, so we're going to do that too, just a little. Let's make a little bit of a gap. Again, there's a lot of tools we could use to make this look better. Don't worry, we're going to learn them all as we go. Now we're just going to go to Edit, Clone. Click OK and bring that down. Okay. Let's just bring this in a little bit more. And let's bring this down a little bit. And I'm going to make this one a little bit longer. Okay, just like that. All right, cool. Now this is now a little too big, right? So I'm going to cheat, and I'm just going to make this bottom one longer. Okay. I don't measure anything in the software. There is software you can measure things and get exact measurements. We're not going to use it, but there is. Just know that it exists. It's really good for, like, if you want to design stuff for 3D printing. You know, this isn't exactly the ideal software for if you want to do 3D printing. You could, but you'd want to bring it into a software where you can, you know, measure it out and make sure it works. Okay, so that looks good. Now there's some hardware here. So let's just use a different shape. Let's use a, I don't know. Let's use a cylinder. Here's where I'm going to go to my 4 view. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to go to here. And I'm going to hit W and bring this up. Bring this over. See, it's just helping me place it in 3D. See how I'm using all the views? Right there. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to here, and I'm going to rotate it. And I'm just moving my mouse up and down for this, okay? Now you might be like, Mr. Slow, how do I know this is 90 degrees? You go to transform and go to here and put 90. I was really close, but I wasn't exact. Now we're going to go to scale. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it out this way. Just going to make it a little skinnier. If you're wondering why the scale is acting weird, it's because we rotated it. And when you rotate it, it kind of messes up the way it scales. So you probably want to do all your, we want to clone that, all your rotating like last. You might be able to freeze stuff. I don't know. We'll get into that another time. All right, that's cool. So there you go. That's his desk. Now you might say, Mr. Slow, this isn't gray. All right, I don't get it. This isn't gray. Let's make it gray. So what we could do, a few things we could do, just to keep it really simple. We can go to our materials library and say new physical. And what we do is we take all of these. I'm holding down shift now, and I'm just going to drag it to here. Okay, so now I change the color. And now it's gray. Okay. You could mess with the color. If we're going physical, I could mess with this color a little. Okay. And there's something else you could do too. This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. We could go to where it says render. Just don't worry about this window. You could close this window. No, we don't want that. It's not coming up. Let's see here. Yeah, let's do that another time. Oh, there we go. Okay, materials library just came up. All right. So watch what we could do here. Let me show you. So first, let me show you how I got there again. Okay. So I'm on the rendering tab. So if you're on the layout tab, this is what you have. The model tab, you know, the general tab. That's where we've been. So if we go to the render tab, just get rid of this. We don't need it. It doesn't even work anyway. Go here and just do this. Okay. And you click HDRI environments, and we're going to click this one. This doesn't do much, so let me show you why. If I go to physical, click on it, and I go to where it says metallic, I get a little bit of shine. It's kind of neat. And there you go. I think that'll be good for the day. the rendering stuff, we're going to do that later, so no worries. You could just go to show edges, turn that off. Now the only thing you might want to do is like, I can't see these handles, right? Let's give these a different color. So what we're going to do, see when you open that, it opens up all these. I don't want all these here. So I'm just going to hit shift and I'm just going to hit delete. I just don't want them all there. Okay? New physical. And I'm going to put this here to these guys, okay? And what I'm going to do to these, I'm going to make them a little bit darker. Or lighter, doesn't really matter. And let's go to this physical. And let's change it a little bit. I think it's too dark. You can change it to whatever color you want, but this is the idea. And you know what's neat? You might want to do this. You'll bring out a little more detail on the desk. Kind of cool. All right. So there you go. You have a desk. Now you might say, last thing, let's just do one thing that's a little weird. How do I move the whole desk? Well, there's an easy way to do this. What I do is I select the first one, I hold down shift, I select the last one, I right click and I go to group with model. Just go group with model. Or just null. That'll work too. So this group, I'm going to call this group desk. Excuse me. So we're going to click on desk and then we can move the desk around. So if I'm doing a scene where I have, like, let's say 2 desks, right? I could do this, move it over. Let's say I want another desk. I could right click and just say, excuse me, clone hierarchy. Now I have another desk. And then I could do something like, I could rotate it, or, I could do whatever I want here. I could do like maybe an L-shaped desk, something like this. Let's say this is your home office. Then you have, a really nice home office. So there you go. You got a little L desk in your home office, right? Pretty neat. So you could obviously see how you could use this idea to build the whole scene. Anyway, I'm going to stop here. I'm getting a little long-winded. But I hope you found this tutorial helpful. I hope you learned a lot. And thanks for watching.